analyzes every myth and he gives reasons for it. So my style is completely different from both.
It's a very racy.
Yes, it's a fast-paced story, but it captures a lot of beliefs that are there inherent in mythology, like the life after death, the karma theory, and all those. The basic principles of mythology are all there, but it's set in a very modern setting. So
karma theory allows you to get away with a lot of stuff. Bad things to people say, oh, they deserve it.
It also comes back to you.
It's alright, you can deal with it when it happens. So, what is the source of this story? What were the historical or mythological sources that you tapped? Do you know Sanskrit? I mean, what are the wherewithals that you use? What were the tools that you used to unlock the story?
And of course, I know Sanskrit. I think we'll just keep this here.
Alright.
So, I have learned Sanskrit, of course, in school. I learned it for 5 years, and it was one of my favorite languages because I was never good at maths. So Sanskrit was one.
Smriti Irani will love you.
I don't mind, but maths was never my strong subject, and Sanskrit was one subject where I would always get above 90. So it's a very mathematical subject, but it's also very poetic. So all the scriptures that are written, whether it is Rig Veda or whether it is Ramayana, every verse can be interpreted in so many ways. So it's almost like reading a book or reading like a graphic novel. When you can imagine things. Like in Rig Veda when they're talking about Indra drinking pots of soam and then going to slay the demon Vritrasur, who's actually like a dragon.
I must say you made ancient India sound great. I mean, it was better than our society right now. They ended up having a lot more fun than we ended up having.
So I think for me it has always been that way. I've always thought of mythology in those terms, not in the traditional. Even the descriptions of gods, where they're loaded with gold jewelry and gems and stuff. I've somehow never related to that. I've always had my own interpretations of the way they would look.
So which book? I mean, which?
I think for Vishwamitra, it was basically the Ramayana. Okay. So Ramayana Balkand, the initial section, where Vishwamitra takes Ram and Lakshman to the forest because he's being troubled by the demons there, and he takes them there. He teaches them. He's the one who gives Rama the knowledge of divine weapons. So all the knowledge that he's gained here in this book, he passes it on to Ram. And those are the weapons that Ram uses to kill Ravan later. So
that's also the reason why he was able to break Parashurama's
No, not that. That wasn't a reason, but probably it could have helped him, of course. But had Vishwamitra not taken these guys to the forest and had Vishwamitra not given them this knowledge, the killing of Ravan could have been very different.
Okay, what do you think is the reason? As philosophical, sociological kind of a question. Why is it that mythology has become so popular now? Why is it that we are looking at our stories and bringing them out now? I mean, there was a 20-year lag where we were reading Harry Potter and J.R.R. Tolkien and C.S. Lewis. Now we're reading Vishwamitra and Devdutt Patnaik's books.
Yes. I think a lot of credit goes to Harry Potter itself because it just brought fantasy as a genre back in the market, And it was a big market suddenly, because Harry Potter, the first book which was written was for children. So, and everybody was like, oh, it's a children's book, But once any adult who got hold of that book, he couldn't leave it. It was just so well written. And the story just got better in every book. Second and the third book was excellent. So I think it just brought back fantasy as a genre back into, mainstream. And then people started realizing, oh yeah, this is something that we can do. So then there came the Percy Jacksons and the J.R.R. Tolkien has always been there. Yeah, but I mean nobody. So it got a new lease of life because of Harry Potter.